Tornadoes are ripping across the country. This could be one of the most destructive weekends of the year for fishing. Let's break it down. Welcome back to Bass Prediction Center, where we're tracking weather, seasonal patterns, and tournament trends to help you make smarter fishing decisions every week. Looking at our map updated for the weekend, and we do have the Redcrest going on. It's been an absolute slugfest. Guys are catching like 25 to 30 bass every day. David Dudley had like 71 pounds, but we'll look at that in a bit. We do have a huge area right now of massive flooding that's going on in this whole swath, and this rain's continuing to pound all weekend long. We'll check that out in the weather. The rest of the country hasn't changed much. Winter, pre-spawn, spawn, and post-spawn are sitting about the same. So let's jump over to the tournaments. Tournament update, we're looking at the MLF Redcrest, the Super Bowl of MLF going on right now. It looks like Chris Lane cashed his ticket all the way to Sunday with 127 pounds with 44 bass. That's just absolutely insane. The guy's a killer. Jacob Walker, brand new, is doing great. He's in second place. He'll move on. And then the whole top 20 will move on to tomorrow, where they'll fish the knockout round, where the top 10 will fish on Sunday. So going to be really awesome. Tune in over there on MLF.com. It's going to be an absolute epic fishing day. They're catching tons of fish, as you can see. So go over there to MLF.com and watch it tomorrow live. All right, there's a Bassmaster Open going on over at Norfolk Lake in Arkansas. It's right in the midst of all this flooding. They did cancel today with the risk of tornadoes that we're going to talk about soon. So I know I saw day one weights. There was from first to 100th place was only a 5-pound difference in weight. So this is anybody's ball game. They're catching a ton of fish. This place just doesn't have a lot of giants. So just a lot of like 10 to 15 pound limits. If they fish on Saturday, tune in. It's going to be a pretty good day. Tons of fish being caught. Check it out over at bassmaster.com. You guys, jumping into the weather, and this is our current map that's going on right now. And as you can see, all these dark red boxes are all flash flood warnings. We'll zoom in a little bit here. And then down here, you have a cluster of tornado warnings just east of Dallas in the Tyler area, and then up here into southeastern Oklahoma. And these are going to continue to push northeast throughout the day as this line progresses. So if you're in Arkansas, you're in danger again. You had a terrible time 2 days ago with an absolute gigantic tornado outbreak. I know some parts in northeastern Arkansas and western Tennessee, some towns were absolutely demolished. So feel bad for everybody over there. These are going to continue to build as they go to the northeast, and it's just going to get worse as we go into the night. So let's jump over to the SPC. All right, this is the convective outlook for today. And as you can see, Arkansas, you're right in the bullseye again. You guys have been absolutely getting hammered. A lot of more rain to come, and definitely a risk for tornadoes here. Just click on the tornado. Yeah, 15% risk in this red area and a 10% risk in this whole yellow area. So it's a big swath of an area where a lot of people are at risk. So make sure you guys have your weather radio on and a safety plan in place so you can stay safe in the midst of these tornadoes. This is Saturday's SPC. As you can see, the rain doesn't move much. You're going to see severe storms all through here, eastern Arkansas, northern Louisiana, eastern Texas. Now it's going to start encroaching into Alabama. The Redcrest could be impacted on Saturday by this. So just like I said, keep your weather radio on because it's going to be nasty through the whole weekend in these areas. Sunday's SPC looks very similar. It's just moved to the east. Luckily, it seems to be weakening as it moves east. You do have a slight risk here in Alabama and Georgia, and this is definitely going to impact the Redcrest on Sunday. Hopefully they don't have to cancel. If they do, I'm sure they'll move it to Monday. But let's look at the actual weather here. All right, here's our reflectivity map for the weekend, guys. Friday, today, going to continue dumping rain all throughout this area. The floods are only going to get worse. So if you're in low-lying areas, make sure you stay very safe. You have somewhere to go. Do not be near rivers. Guys that are supposed to fish, that's probably not going to happen today or tomorrow. So these storms are just going to intensify as we go towards the evening. Let's go back just a hair. This is this evening. As you can see, there's a lot of reds and yellows in here. Missouri, Illinois, Arkansas, continuing to get hammered. You're going to see some snow over here in the Rockies. West Texas, you're going to get some rain. I know we've had cooler temps over there. There's a high pressure system sitting in the northwest, so as of right now, you're not seeing much at all. Same thing in the northeast and southeast. As this pushes through Saturday, It's going to move slightly east, but not much, and that's why these floods are going to be so bad, because it's just going to continue to rain in the same areas over and over and over. We're talking up to a foot of rain in some areas. These rivers are already out of their banks. It's not a very good situation. We do have a low pressure system that's going to form up here near the Great Lakes. It's going to bring some rain and snow into the northeast. And then as you can see in the Texas Panhandle here, a rare April snow happening southeast or eastern New Mexico, northern Texas, Panhandle, Amarillo area, which is pretty crazy for this time of year considering you were just in tornado warnings not that long ago. Kind of like Nebraska's weather. And then Sunday, this is where the Redcrest could be impacted. If Saturday, if they can fish Norfolk Lake, it's going to be a soaker. So anybody that's fishing that Bassmaster Open on Norfolk, get your rain gear out for tomorrow. It's going to be a wet one. Sunday, kind of the same thing. This is just going to push east into Alabama, Tennessee. It's just not going to be as strong as it was, luckily. So all the way through the evening. Let's see the timing on this. Yeah, it's definitely the afternoon, right towards the end of the tournament, you're going to see some rain there on Guntersville, but it doesn't look like it should be too severe. There's definitely a risk of severe storms, so keep your weather apps open if you're out there fishing, guys. Looking at our wind gust map, this is where it's a little bit different because we don't actually have a low pressure system directly affecting these storms. It's just a bunch of moisture flowing up from the Gulf. So you do have winds pushing that moisture up here in Louisiana and Mississippi, eastern Texas. The rest of the country is looking great. You do have some gusts here in South Dakota, which is pretty normal for this time of the year in those open plains. And then on Saturday overnight, or tonight overnight, it's going to pick up big time. And then first thing in the morning on Saturday, it's going to be a windy, gusty one, especially behind these fronts. So you're looking at 30 to 40 mile an hour gusts all through here. And then also in the same in the northeast, Pennsylvania, New York, in that area. So you're going to get out fishing. Saturday morning is going to be a little bit rough. It's going to stay that way pretty much all day. And then on Sunday, that stuff's going to kind of push to the east. The northwest looks a lot better. You're starting to see some stuff build up in the west here. Some rain here in the northwest, which is, pretty common. Seattle, it rains a lot. So these winds are just going to blanket the southeast, 30 to 40 mile an hour gusts through Sunday. Our temperatures for the weekend. The high today, you're looking at in Nebraska, South Dakota, 30s and 40s. It's definitely cooled down a bit. Cold up in the Rockies, still skiing up there, which is nice for those guys. In the Northwest and California, really nice with 60s and 70s. The Southeast in front of these lines of storms, you're looking at 85 degrees. Going to be a huge push of spawners all in this area. South Texas, you're going to be in a summer pattern before you know it. Be throwing crankbaits on ledges. North Texas, like we showed before, there's going to be some snow. It's definitely a cool down. And then we'll look at Saturday's high temps here. As you can see, that cold area pushes way down south. You're looking at 20s in the Panhandle of Texas, all the way down into 50s down close to Houston. So that's a huge cool down for you guys. Definitely going to slow the fishing down. And the southeast in front of this front obviously just stays warm, pushing all that warm, moist air. The rest of the country, 40s and 50s, except in California where you're close to 60 degrees or 70. And then on Sunday, that cold mass of air continues to just hang out, and it starts to push east. We do get a warm up back here in the Great Plains, northern Great Plains, all the way up into Canada. You're looking at 50s and 60s. The heat in California stays where you're jumping up into the 70s, which is really nice for you guys. Great time to be fishing right now in California. No storms, wonderful weather. Probably got a ton of bass on beds there in the whole part of California. And then this cold air is just going to push behind this front. So if you're fishing out in front of it, you're definitely going to have a nice bite, but behind it, it's going to be cold front conditions. So bad news for those guys. Guys, I wanted to look quickly at the significant tornado parameter for the day, and this is where it's going to get dangerous. As you can see, this is very red all through Arkansas. This is right now. So as these storms push east, there's very favorable conditions for supercells and tornadoes to form. So be very safe out there, like we've already discussed. With the flooding and the storms, you're going to want to find somewhere safe. Get out of there if you can. And as we showed, this actually strengthens here on Saturday in the eastern part of Texas. This is the Sam Rayburn, Toledo Bend area. If you guys are fishing there tomorrow, be very careful. And then that's going to push east and weaken as it goes through Sunday at least. So the guys on Redcrest shouldn't be too threatened by tornadoes or anything, but there is going to be some thunderstorms and rain. So make sure you have your rain gear on. All right, reviewing our Beyond Braid baits of the week. Guys, go over to beyondbraid.com. They've got new tackle boxes and some of the best fishing line on the internet. And you can get 10% off with the code BPC10 at beyondbraid.com. In our post-spawn areas right now, if there's a shad spawn going on in your lake or even a bluegill spawn, get some bluegill-colored Kitec fat swing impacts. I love to put mine on an underspin because I do have murkier water. If you're in clear water, you might not want to do that. If you're around a ton of bait fish, it helps too, actually. So pair those together and throw them in anywhere that the shad are spawning, shallow rocky points, bluegill beds, things like that. You absolutely hammer some fish. These guys, this thing catches numbers and giants. In spawn areas, I'm throwing this Riot Baits Fuzzy Beaver. Love this thing on a Texas rig. I love this thing on a free rig. It has a great fall, has tons of appendages. You know how big that is right now. They have a smaller one if you're in a lake that has smaller fish. It's called the Little Fuzzy, but they're great baits from Riot Baits, which is out of Japan. And then pre-spawn areas, we're using the 6th Sense Movement 80X. Guys, if you haven't tried this bait, it's one of the best baits on the market for pre-spawn fish. Get into areas where you've got stumps in like 1 to 2 to 3 foot of water. Bounce this thing off every single stump in the lake, and it's going to reflect or bounce off that stump so hard that it triggers insane bites on giant pre-spawn female bass. Winter areas, we have a Damiki Vault blade bait. This is the best blade bait on the market. Get into those areas where you have big schools of smallmouth or big schools of largemouth out on points or any kind of ledge winter areas, and just work this thing out the bottom. Just small little hops and vibrations, and they're going to absolutely destroy this thing. Think it's a dying shad. So that's our Beyond Braid Baits of the Week. Remember to use BPC10 at beyondbraid.com. Guys, just to take a second out of your day, we are pushing for 500 subscribers here on the channel. We're sitting here at 261. We're inching this up day by day. We're going to get there for sure. But just take a second, subscribe to the channel, click the bell, so you can stay ahead of the weather and join one of the best fishing communities here on YouTube. And that is your BPC Weekend Update. Make sure you guys drop a comment with where you're fishing and what you're seeing out there so we can feature it in a future video. Thanks for watching, and stay safe, guys.